Hey, we're going to talk about 3 permaculture uses that you can do with urine. Okay, talking about human waste isn't exactly something everybody is really all that comfortable with or even wants to talk about. But it's a reality. Just like we use the waste of the chickens, pigs, sheep, it doesn't matter. All of those wastes and all those different animals is a benefit to you. Even the waste in worms, it's all a benefit to us. We use it in the garden, we use it in the soil. Everywhere we use the waste of animals. So it seems only reasonable to talk about what we do with human waste. When we were in Texas, we had composting toilets. And the way those work, I'm going to try to do this video in such a way where I don't gross everybody out, but the way those things work is the solids go in one area of the toilet and the liquids go in the other area. And you never really smell anything, provided your exhaust system on those things work well. And to be honest with you, they worked exceedingly well for us. Now, I can't give you an example of that directly here because we no longer use composting toilets, much to the happiness of my wife. But anyway, what you can do with those things, we were in the process of doing before we left Texas. And that was basically taking that stuff, we had it in barrels, and ultimately we were going to make humanure out of it. We weren't there long enough to kind of finish that whole process, but here we are. So we're in a place where we do have flush toilets, much to the happiness of most people involved here. But the problem is in permaculture is that we're taking something that for most of the world is a very, very valuable resource, water, and you're doing something that many would believe was absolutely a waste and unnecessary when it comes to that. Okay, now just a little disclaimer here. Before you start messing with any humanure, now it can be highly consequential, especially if you do it wrong. Make sure you consult and do all the research yourself before you actually get mixed up in anything like that. William was at a place, I think it was in New Mexico, where people were actually taking raw sewage and putting it out in their garden. Well, if those people are still alive today, this message goes to you especially. Urine is a little bit easier to manage because, especially if you're a guy, okay? But there are honest uses that we use every single day. So I debated as to whether or not this is a video I should make. But in full disclosure and honesty, I mean, we're not holding anything back here. I might as well tell you all of it. Well, folks, in my hand, even though it's apple season, this ain't apple juice. In fact, I spent most of this morning making deposits into this thing. And you're thinking, oh man, I know some people are like, dude, really? No. Yeah, fact is, I do this every single day I'm here, and I do it for a purpose. It's a party with a purpose. And we're going to show you 3 ways in which we use it today, or which you can use it. 2 of them I do pretty regularly. The other one maybe not so much. I've done it before in the past. A while back, and then one of our earlier videos as we got to North Carolina, all around this barn you just saw me in, we've been cutting out, the place was in disrepair, and it still is in many ways. So we're still in the process of trying to get things in order. So it meant cutting down stumps that were on the inside. Now, they make chemicals out there. In fact, I knew some guys in the past that would buy this stuff. They'd put them in the stumps and then, it would kill everything. Well, we try to do as best we can to not kill things in those ways. We try to dissuade them. And then we got things like this where we've been doing it for a long time, folks. So what we do, we'll get a better look at it here. This is one of the stumps we worked at before. And I've only treated this one 2 or 3 times. This particular stump right here. Now, what we've done before, whenever we cut down a tree, we drill holes, let's say with a 1/2-inch drill bit, drill some holes in there, and then just like that, we pour just a little bit of this down in there. I got this little trick from an old timer. The nitrogen in your urine will help break this stuff down in record time. If you doubt me, cut down 2 stumps next to one another. Just put a few holes in there with a 1/2-inch bit and pee on it. And then do nothing to the one next to it. And watch how quickly the one decomposes right there in its place. Okay, so what you want to do is basically pour this stuff, or every time you go by that stump, pee on it, and see how quickly it decomposes. Well, this is one of the uses we use it for. All right, let's say you don't have the benefits of a chicken tractor on steroids or a bunch of chickens doing your compost work for you. Or let's just say you have a slow-moving compost pile. Bam! Brings me to this stuff again. I have done it before. Not here. I've done it in Texas just to see how. That's when I really started experimenting with it. You can use it that way. And there's probably there's a little bit of debate out there as to whether of how good it is, but it is nitrogen. And let's say you have a lot of, carbon in there. Well, that's a way to help break it down. So here's another good example. These guys do all of my composting for me. And here they are working on, the first week's compost pile. So here's another good place you could do it. Let's say, like I said, you want to speed up your compost. You can add a little air to it. You want it to have that little wet sponge consistency. Let's say you don't have that. Or let's just say you're just lacking nitrogen in general. It might be a good way to, add a little bit to it. Now let's take you to the third way, the way I use every single day. Okay, behind me is the sheep tractor and of course the chickens. Chickens follow the sheep all the way through the rotation. And so something I do every single day, particularly when these guys are on edges. Remember, in permaculture, that's where most of the action happens, on the edges. Well, that's also where the deer like to travel. It's also where predators like to travel too. So, this is where we take some of this magic elixir and we use it here as well every single day. It sounds like I'm in some kind of commercial. I don't know, maybe I could sell this stuff. So if anybody wants to buy some, let me know. But every single night when we're making sure everything's the way it ought to be, I go around and I splash this stuff up into any trees that are nearby. Now I could put it on the ground and the scent will travel, but you want to, if you have the option to do it, you want to try to put it on elevated surfaces because any wind wafting by would take it and carry that scent much further. So any would-be predator is kind of getting the hey, I'm in close proximity to where you might be thinking about going. And that's exactly what I want. This the very opposite of thing that you would want to do in hunting. I don't know how to say this without sounding any more disgusting, but it's best if you can procure the urine, especially for males, in the morning. Because all the hormones that, your body's kind of saved up through the night, you can deposit it all within said milk jug and save it until now it's only potent, as I understand it, for about 24 hours. So you want to try to use it within that time. So every single night, we'll go around and I'll splash some up on the trees. So far, we haven't had any problems. And this is in lieu of having a livestock guardian dog, which it's we need to get a few other things knocked out before I can get that part done. So with that said, I'm already here, low light. Why not just go ahead and splash up on the tree right now? Now, folks, I know without a doubt, this is not the sexiest of all topics to discuss regarding permaculture, but if you want me to, quote, keep it real, as the kids say these days, this is all part of it. This is part of everything. I mean, we deal with the waste in every single system we have out here, but it doesn't have to be a waste. It can be a great benefit to you, as we've just shown you. And there's tons of other uses out there. The other ones I don't want to discuss because they tend to have the ability to be a little more controversial. And look, I'm just telling you the way, this is not something that's theoretical. We do it every single day, and I use it on all these trees that are falling, all the ones we're cutting down. That's how we get rid of stumps. I'm not going to hire a stump grinder. I'm not going to go out here and work too much harder than I have to when I got natural means that I'm already producing anyway to be able to put down on this stuff. So folks, as weird and as potentially disgusting as it may be, I hope it helps you. So until next time, this is Billy, the Permaculture Pimp Daddy, where PIMP stands for Permaculture is my passion. We'll see you next time.